Do you have a message, Mr. President, for women who were protesting outside the White House yesterday?
Yes, keep protesting because keep making your point. It's critically important. We can do a lot of things to accommodate the rights of women in the meantime, but fundamentally, the only thing that's going to change this is if we have a national law that reinstates Roe v. Wade. That's the bottom line. Everything else, we can get pieces of it, and I'm trying to do that.
Okay, so that's Joe Biden saying, those of you who are out there protesting, including many people protesting around the White House, continue doing what you're doing. And in fact, you're right. We do need to do something to accommodate these rights. I'd use a different term personally. We need a law, a federal law, and we're gonna get it. Well, look at that. Biden is super in support of protesters who are frustrated with the destruction of Roe v. Wade. It's almost as if they felt the need to trot him out to do a bit of damage control, considering what the White House was saying about this over the weekend. Now, Francesca and I talked about this on her show over the weekend. In case you missed the statement that was put out by the White House communications director, Kate Bedingfield said over the weekend, Joe Biden's goal in responding to Dobbs is not to satisfy some activists who have been consistently out of step with the mainstream of the Democratic Party. It's to deliver help to women who are in danger and assemble a broad-based coalition to defend a woman's right to choose now, just as he assembled such a coalition to win during the 2020 campaign. The president has been showing his deep outrage as an American and executing his bold plan, which is the product of months of hard work ever since this decision was handed down. So shut up, you peasants, shut up, you activists, you're out of step. You, Francesca, you think that reproductive rights should exist, thus proving that you are a wild-eyed radical. But anyway, people weren't happy about this. And so it sort of makes sense that they try to put out a different message with Biden there. Francesca, what do you think?
Just stop, just stick, just like honestly stick to anything. Like, do you have a moral compass? Do you have some kind of like guideposts in terms of what the hell this administration is actually about? They keep going back and forth on this. And honestly, that statement it's gonna take a lot to come back from that statement. Because that statement, they're talking about building coalitions. That statement absolutely iced out the very people who worked on the Biden campaign, building coalitions for him, looking at reproductive rights, looking at all kinds of things. And he's consistently like thrown them all under the bus. But I do think it's nice. It's very cute that he says keep protesting as he keeps bike riding, even though he fell. You just get up and you keep on pedaling as he was there with his, of course, with his security detail, and clearly on a bike. But just like the last thing, that statement, it not only bothers me because it is absolutely, there's the contempt that they have for Democratic voters. You can call them activists or one. Here's the difference between an activist and a voter who you want to get to. The activist is your bridge to the voter, you dumb POS. Like the activist is the person who's doing the work that you should be doing, oftentimes unpaid, is trying to get people involved in the political process, right? But I hate the part where they say like, oh, the president is responding with outrage like any American. You're like, no, you're not any American. You're the president. So I'd like you to respond not like any American. I'd like you to respond like the president.
Well, and that's a totally perfect criticism, but also he's not nearly as outraged as many Americans, and that's clear. He's doing like kind of an old man version of like, oh, I'm supposed to be outraged. Okay, I think I can work myself up into it briefly. So that's obviously a big issue. Also, the whole thing reeks of like the boss crossing the picket lines and then like yelling at the factory, yeah, we're mad at you. But Biden, are they protesting Republicans? Yes, understandably, they're protesting Republicans in many cases, and the Supreme Court and all that. But also they're protesting you because you're not doing enough. Saying, I think people should be with me protest. No, they're protesting you because you're not doing anything. Maybe you should consider doing something, then they might not be so outraged. Anyway, I want to give credit to a couple of different people for their statements about this, trying to get through to him. Co-founder of Ultraviolet, Shauna Thomas, said mainstream Biden could double his approval rating and he still wouldn't be as popular as abortion rights. It's a great point. Burn. Anyway, she goes on to say, what activists are asking for isn't different from what the average voter is looking for. Leadership, to trust that the president is doing everything in his power to save lives and protect our rights. No one is asking Biden to do the impossible. We're asking him to do the maximum, and he is doing the minimum at the very least. So anyway, yeah, this is, I guess, their first pass at responding to this needless own goal here. Like, the Democrats seemed poised even before Roe v. Wade was destroyed, after the leak in early May, to be like, okay, so we're not gonna actually do anything, but I think this will help us politically. How about this? What if you didn't do anything and also you found a way to not even have it help you politically, because you ended up being just as offensive as the people actively trying to strip away these rights?
I mean, I'm just like, oof, we're gonna see in the midterms. But you just demobilized a lot of people who even still had a shred of faith in your presidency and was gonna, we're gonna work to get out the vote and whatnot, like the so-called activists who are out of step. Like, we're already trying to swallow. They're already trying to swallow the pill of Nancy Pelosi campaigning for Henry Cuellar. They're already trying to swallow the pill of the fact that we know it's nothing but lies. The fact that they had this ready for months. No, they didn't. They would have come out with it as soon as the leak was there, right? So we know all that's BS. So it's like time and time again, and now you're isolating folks even further. Ooh, the streets are gonna be hot this summer.
By the way, they came into the weekend saying, hey, all of you, don't pressure Biden, don't imply he's not doing enough. That'll demobilize people. And then they decided to show us what true demobilization actually looks like. It's a great point.
Yeah.